Okay? Women are stimulated here and here. To get to here, you got to work on these and just stay here for a long time. And then that will be presented to you. But you got to get through here first. You got to stimulate this. Otherwise, all that other stuff is meaningless and you're going to come off like every other creep. What's shaking on? One of the most important factors to attraction, especially from both sexes, but from a male to a female, I think ladies, you'll agree with this, a men's ability to communicate. Now, I know within the context of a relationship, men can lack in communication skills. At least from your perspective, I think men communicate very well from male to male. But I think from men to female, females consider us to be bad communicators overall because we're not emotionally, in their opinions, available, or we don't speak the same language as they do, and which is a very true thing. If you ever read Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus, it is very true. We speak two different languages, and we have to interpret what the person says, reframe it, and say, okay, what am I trying to say? And then I got to reinterpret it to spit it back in their language. And it's requires a lot of mental fortitude and bandwidth. Which is one of the reasons why that doesn't happen very often. But anyway, that being said, there's also the value of communication in terms of when you're first meeting somebody, right? Being a great conversationalist, I think, is the top of that list. It is a great luxury as a guy to have great conversational skills. I like to think I'm a pretty damn good conversationalist. Thank you very much. Being very humble as I am, I do feel like, though, that I have quite the track record of being a decent conversationalist. And I think that is one of the number one skills in terms of attraction for a female to a male. And that involves a lot of things. I mean, look, not everybody's an extrovert, but you don't have to be a great extrovert to do this. You just have to have skills. People who are skilled in sales, communication, any of these pursuits, actors, things like this, lawyers, anything of that nature is going to be, typically speaking, a good conversationalist, at least to the point to where they can take the conversation where they want it to go. They can lead it. They know how to actively listen, which is a huge part of conversing. A lot of people think it's really about, promoting yourself or talking a lot. And it's really not. It's just asking really great questions and actively listening and then engaging the other person and being here. So let's talk about that very quickly. This doesn't have to be a long video, but I think this would be a very valuable one. Gentlemen, especially. Ladies, of course, you are, there's some ladies out there that I've met that were not great conversationalists, to be honest, and you have to really pry, but it might be because they were shy, it might be because they're just not skilled, it might be because they're young and they don't have a lot of experience. But I think it behooves guys because, women are going to find that as a bigger deal breaker than a guy is to a woman. So it's very important that men master this skill. Whether you want to call it sales, communication, but it's conversation in terms of when you're first meeting somebody in that context. It's very, very important in terms of attracting a woman, especially sexually, okay? Women are stimulated here and here. To get to here, you got to work on these and just stay here for a long time. And then that will be presented to you. But you got to get through here first. You got to stimulate this. Otherwise, all that other stuff is meaningless and you're going to come off like every other creep, which you don't want to. And rightfully so, because, you know, people don't just be wanted just for their generals. And then men are going, what are you talking about? Of course. So a couple things. To be a great conversation, involves several things. Again, it doesn't have to mean that you're shy, but it does mean, as is with so many other things in life, that you have to be curious. Being interesting requires you being interested. Curiosity about life is going to lead you into a lot of situations that are going to garner you significant experience, whether that's conversations specifically with a variety of different people so you can ascertain that knowledge, or it's experiences that you might have had in terms of living experiences, things that you've done, jobs you might have done, places you might have traveled, interesting cultures, dynamics, all of which make great stories and also great conversational piece. So when you ask these great questions, which is really what this conversation is about, great open-ended questions, and they're answering, or they're asking you questions, vice versa, and you're listening and exchanging these ideas and experiences, you have something to draw from. If you have no life experience and you haven't done anything, you got to fake it till you make it, right? But you got to have something, right? And so you have to have these things that you're drawing from to be a great conversationalist, right? And if you don't, then you better be asking. If you don't have a lot to draw from, then you better be putting the onus on them, which you should be doing anyway as the guy. They don't want to hear you talk. They want to hear themselves talk, okay? And you want to hear them talk because the more you know about them, the less they know about you, the more mystery you've created. Am I wrong? And the more interesting you become. The more you talk about yourself, the more they know about you. And if you pick and choose certain things, that's going to make you more interesting if you have an interesting background. But if it's over the top and that's all you're doing is doing all the talking, you're not asking specific questions. You know, now there's certain women that are shy that you have to do a little bit more of the talking, and that's fine. Every situation is a little different. It's contextual. And it's the experience is going to let you know when to do it, when not to do it. But for the women, but for a great conversation, you have to have something to draw from. You have to be interesting. And if you don't have that many interesting experiences, you can at least be interesting because you're curious about life in general, right? And if you're still going to come off interesting, at least if you're curious, like places that you want to go, things that you want to do, things that excite you and you're passionate about. So if you don't have experiences right away, maybe you're young, maybe you're like 18, 19, you haven't done a whole lot. That's fine. As long as there's things that you want to do that you're curious and you're interested about, maybe things that you're reading, maybe dreams that you have, maybe interesting movies or documentaries, something. And of course, you bring it back to that person. Once you've asked all the questions about them, you ask all these interesting questions, then you kind of know what they like, and you bring those specific experiences, those specific books you've read or places you've traveled or experiences you've had, and now you share some of yours and you can make that connection. So that is the art of conversation. You ask great open-ended questions, allow them to talk, and then show that you're listening. Actively listening, meaning they say something, you're genuinely in the pocket with them. Eye contact. Your body language indicates that you're genuinely interested because you actually genuinely are interested. And it indicates that you're in the moment with them. You're their dance partner, okay? And if you're your dance partner in this, here and here, you're going to be their dance partner on the dance floor, and you're going to be their dance partner in bed. The horizontal mambo, if you will. Facts. So you can try to skip steps all you want, but you can't, fella. You can't skip steps. And why would you want to? This is where the meat is. This is where the juice is. This is where it gets interesting. I want to know about that woman. I find her fascinating. I want to know all sorts of things. What makes her tick? Why does she feel the way she feels about certain things? What experiences has she had? This is going to root out like your average woman from somebody who's really interesting. I'm not, and the whole time is I'm not judging her. Okay, I'm not going in my head, well, this girl sucks, or well, that's really stupid, or whatever. Now, I might be filtering, putting things in the back burner. Well, that's interesting. I don't know. That could be a problematic thing in the future. Or Oh, that could be some dramatic. And I might be doing what a lot of women do, which is, okay, I'm starting to put her in this category, right? But you're patient with it. You're uncovering key information. You're doing a needs analysis. What does she need out of me, right? It's like in sales. I'm asking open-ended questions, allowing her to talk about herself, and then leading the conversation where it needs to go based off that. And every once in a while, I'll throw in my own 2 cents. If it's a shy girl, I'll adapt. If it's a girl that likes to talk about herself a lot, I'll adapt. But those are the key conversations. Now, in order to have those things, you have to look at it from a holistic approach. If you are a man of value, a gentleman of value, if you will, you should be looking to constantly be cultivating yourself. So these interesting experiences, I mean, you can go out there looking for them purposely if you want, but really, it's really more about, if you're interested and you're curious about life, you're going to want to add layers to yourself. You're going to want to learn new languages. You're going to want to travel. You're going to want to learn new cultures. You're going to want to read a lot. You're going to want to watch documentaries. You're going to feed your brain and your soul. You're going to listen to great music, learn new genres, take great road trips, be interesting, learn new skills, pick up a guitar, whatever it is. You're going to want to do that naturally because you're interested in life and you want to cultivate yourself. You want to make the best version of yourself. You should have a vision of the man that you want to be. What does that guy look like? How does he act? How does he dress? How does he behave? What do you want to be known for? What layers are you adding to yourself that are going to build value, right? Like, you would do that for a job, wouldn't you? Well, why wouldn't you do this for your own life? Your life resume, if you will. And then that's attractive in and of itself. That's something that somebody's going to notice right away, especially a woman. They're going to pick up on that right away. This guy's different. He's not your average guy. No, and they'd be right about that. We are not your average guy. Anybody who's been through my boot camp, it's not going to be your average guy. For better or for worse. Anything but boring, right? You're not going to be a boring, turnkey, run-of-the-mill cookie cutter dude. You're not going to be, wait for it, a chip eater. You're going to be unpredictable. They're not going to know everything about you. You're going to have a mystery. Because there's so much to find out about you that you keep uncovering more layers of that. They keep uncovering, rather, more layers of your onion, so to speak, of your onion. Because there is so much to find out. Why? Because you spent your life doing cool shit. That's why, and reading cool things and watching cool things. And you're not a man of trash, you're a man of value. You don't spend your time, doing what every other dude does, playing video games all damn day, or, watching the latest dumb, reality TV shows, which no guy should be watching anyway. You're a man of value. You're watching documentaries, you're watching great acting, you're watching different genres. You're feeding your mind and you're feeding your soul. It's creating a very dynamic individual, and that individual is going to be spectacular in a conversation. That's all I'm saying to you. So you're going to get out there and you're going to wow her, man. You're going to wow her. You're going to blow her panties off with your brain, your wit, your charisma, your curiosity and passion. That's what this is about. Can I get an amen? That's what I'm saying to you. And it's true. I think most women would agree with what I'm saying here. And there's not a whole lot of people like that, men or women out there at this point. I mean, there are, but they're not easily found. And most of the time, they're going to have their fair share of suitors and entertainers, because there are a lot of chip eaters out there, and there are not a whole lot of dynamic men or women, really, for that matter. So don't be a chip eater. We've talked about being a chip eater before. I'll say it again. In order not to be a chip eater, you have to really approach your life in a holistic way and become a man of value. Be a James Bond, if you will. Okay? You know what that looks and feels like. You know how you want to walk and talk and carry yourself. So create that. You have a marble slate, a block of marble. Now, what is that vision for yourself? Now, chip away every day at that vision. Chip away every day. Maybe it's a new language. Maybe it's a new travel situation. Maybe it's new women that you meet. Don't forget that. You're the sum total of a lot of the women that you meet. Believe me, it's very important. Men too, but if you're dating a lot of women, this is not a bad thing. They're going to help cultivate you. They're going to help you learn. They're going to help you be better for the next woman. They really are. And you know what? you keep those women around that you really like. That's good. Because believe me, gentlemen, believe me, these women aren't letting go of these men that are around them. Not nowadays. They're always going to have orbiting suitors. Now, the only way you can not drive yourself crazy in situations like that, because remember, they don't want you to be jealous. Unless you go away, and then they want you to be jealous, right? They always want what they can't have. So what do you have to do? You have to be doing the same thing. A, that's going to give you perspective so you can be indifferent. B, they can't ever leverage that against you. That takes their power away. And I'm not saying that to play games. I'm just saying that for your own peace of mind, so that you can behave in a way that they're going to be attracted to. Because otherwise, that's not for them to understand. They're never going to understand what I'm talking about right now. But you as a man will know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That pit in your gut, feeling like you have no power, because you have to fight off 1,000 different suitors. Even if she doesn't interest in them, she doesn't get that. And plus, a lot of these women feel entitled to do all that stuff anyway, because that's what social media tells them, and they get all kinds of attention, dopamine hits from it. But bottom line is, okay, well, it's not. I don't look at it as a game, but by golly, you're playing one, and I'm involved in this game by proxy, so I might as well win the game, or I might as well at least play. I'm not gonna let you just steamroll me. And women don't want you to be a doormat anyway. So communication in general is going to be huge in and outside the relationship. Now that communication shifts quite dramatically from when you're outside of a committed relationship to when you're inside one, right? The dynamics change. The things you talk about change. Sometimes they get more dramatic and a lot less fun. The fun to obligation and responsibility ratio tends to shift quite dramatically as you get into committed relationships. And I don't particularly love that. I don't think a lot of people do. But the point is that we weren't here to talk about the interpersonal workings of a committed relationship. We're talking about the attraction part of it and being a social weapon, if you will. And the only way you can do that is if you master communication skills, sales skills, and conversational skills. And the only way you can do that is be a holistic man of value and learn how to carry yourself well. Be a gentleman, if you will, an edgy gentleman. A classy, edgy, fun, naughtier than hell gentleman. Well-traveled, well-learned, self-educated, experience-educated, curiosity-educated, passion-driven, dream-chasing, dynamo of a motherfucker. You want a bad, naughty, bad son of a bitch? I'll give you the baddest son of a bitch in the world. Okay? So until next time, live dangerously, my friends.